Welcome to the Lang Logic podcast. This is a special episode with YouTuber Evan Carmichael. So today it's the our main episodes are usually about sports, but today we're going to talk a lot about success, work ethic, entrepreneurial stuff, mindset, a lot of just different things. So we're going to pick Evan's brain here a little bit. Obviously he's a huge inspiration of mine, one of my heroes, honestly. So we're gonna get started here. I think my first question is, how and who should I be marketing my podcast to?
So first off, Lang Logic, I love it. It's great being here. Thank you for the invite, man. I love what you're doing, and I'm excited for this episode when it launches. If you're talking about how to market a podcast, there's two things for marketing podcast. One, it's very personality driven, right? So you either want people who are going to share it with their list. Part of the exposure is for them to be on your podcast, they're going to share with their list. When you reach a certain level higher than that, they're not going to promote you to their list, but you can use their name to then go off and get other people, right? And so I love being early in on people's podcasts. I love it. I love being the first bigger guest, or I love being episode number one. I like it because if you could then use my name to go get other people in the sports world or non-sports world, it makes me feel good that I was part of your come up story, right? That this is episode 6 or 7, and now 2 years later he's on episode 700 and crushing it. It's I was part of that. I was part of the Lang Logic tribe from the beginning. So it's that. So use. In my name in some circles is well known, in other circles it's not. If you go to NFL locker rooms, nobody's going to know who I am. Maybe. If you go to YouTube world or entrepreneur land, more of a known quantity. So, using my name to then go off and get other guests is a great way to build it up. And then as you get even bigger people, use their names to go off and get other guests. So one group is the people who are willing to share it with their audience, but they're not as big a name. And two is then getting the people who have a bigger name and then using their name to go off and get other people. I'd be looking at who are the most social media savvy people in the world that you want to be in, whether it's entrepreneurship or athletes. Which athletes are really hitting it hard right now on social media, who are all over Twitter and all over Insta and all over Snapchat, and they're really making a commitment to go hard. Get those guys on board because they know what a podcast is. Right? Some guys won't even know what a podcast is. You don't want to convince that guy that he needs to come on your show. You want to go with the guys who are already pretty social media savvy and then use their names to go off and get other people.
All right. A lot of good information there. I think my next question is, what is the best way to get my name out there? You kind of already touched on this, but in terms of, you answered this on a couple of regular videos and Instagram Live and stuff, but just getting on meaningful guests that are obviously knowledgeable in the area you're talking about and are credible to your audience. I think that's the biggest thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so especially with a podcast, again, it's very guest-driven. Not many podcasts are just one person talking for half an hour. It's usually very guest-driven, and so it's finding the guests. And it's very, again, celebrity-driven. You can have a guest who has great points, but if nobody's ever heard of this person, it won't do a lot to drive your pod. It'll help your existing podcast subscribers. Oh, that's a really cool guest. I like it. But for new people who've never heard of you, they're not going to come subscribe for this random person that they've never heard of. So you want to try to get people who are known, at least in some circles. Then on top of that, if you're looking just in general, how do we raise your, how do we get people to know just about Zachary? It's figuring out what's your message? What do you stand for? What's so important? Why are you doing this? What needs to be shared with the world? And you creating stuff that you feel proud of. I haven't seen what you're doing on Instagram or Twitter or anywhere there, but if I go to Instagram page and I see what you're posting, are you proud of what you put up today or yesterday or last week? Do you want your grandkids to see this thing? Is it that important? If you approach everything with that level of importance, then it's just practice. Then it's just getting better. If you want to learn how to throw the perfect spiral, it's not going to come the first time. You got to drill it and drill it and drill it and drill it, and it starts getting better. Most people, when they're posting content, they post it just because they're promoting something or they're trying to make a buck. You know, it's not actually something that they genuinely care about. Don't post that stuff. Every now and then is fine because, you know, you're running a business, but 90% of your stuff needs to be something that you actually really care about, and then you're working every day to make it better.
Yeah, I'm taking a branding class right now, actually, and it's always been pushed me, especially early on in college. It's all about networking and promoting yourself because you are your own standing billboard. So you gotta brand your personality, and that's what, you know, social media has really done for me in terms of posting just and marketing the podcast and stuff like that, and marketing just my brand in general. I got someone that actually commented on one of my posts that says she really enjoys waking up every day to some of my posts because she finds a lot of my inspiration, and like just that simple like recognition kind of hit home for me. Just like, you know, I'm not changing the world, but like, you know, changing one person at a time, and that's huge because, you know, I only have a couple hundred views on the podcast right now, but I know that a number obviously can get a lot bigger. But just hitting one person at a time is, especially early on for me right now, is huge, and it kind of sits well with me. So like, if I just keep posting, keep sharing, someone's going to come across it and someone's going to see how hard I've been working, you know, all this time. So
what's your Instagram name?
It's Lang Zachary, all lowercase.
Lang Zachary.
Yeah.
There we go. Looking you up. It's private, dude. I can't see anything.
Well, if you follow, I'll follow back, so you can see.
Dude, you gotta put it up. Are you gonna post quality stuff? I don't follow very many people. Okay, this is happening live on Lang Logic. I'm gonna follow Zachary Lang. He's getting an at bat. He's getting his at bat. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm pressing the follow button. There we go. I'm following. But you gotta make that public though, dude. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to build a brand, people are gonna follow a private account.
All right, I confirmed it then.
Your friends and family will, but you know, if you want to build this brand up to promote your podcast, hey, I'm on there. I like that. That's a good. I appreciate. I'm the number 2 post on there. I like it. Yeah. So listen, Instagram is a fantastic example. I started my Instagram account like 6 years ago, just getting the name. Just I wanted Evan Carmichael so nobody else could take Evan Carmichael. Right. That's how you always start off on these platforms, right?
Yep.
And then, you know, like Zachary Lang is probably way more competitive than Evan Carmichael. There's got to be other Zachary Langs out there that you're fighting with, right? New platform comes out, you know, Minstagram. Got to get my Zachary Lang before somebody else gets in there, right?
Yep.
So that's what I did, and then I just started posting okay content. Like it was good content, it was decent. It helped entrepreneurs. I gave it to my team, and we put it up, and it slowly grew. And it took me 6 years to get to 7,000 followers, 6,000 followers. And then in the past 6 to 8 weeks, I've jumped to 10,000 followers. So from 6 years to get to 6,000, and then a couple weeks to get to 10,000, because now I'm taking it seriously. Because now I'm posting more meaningful stuff. Because now, like, I'm the one doing it, and I want every message to matter. And so it's just like anything else. It's just like sports. If you want to be signed by the NBA, or what's your sport? What do you talk about on this podcast?
We talk about a lot of stuff, but right now I'm big into UFC and MMA, so like seeing a lot of your Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather stuff is
okay.
Awesome.
So like all of these guys hustle their face off, right?
Literally.
You cannot, yeah, right? You cannot get into the UFC by once a week training.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Right? It's just not going to happen. Like, you need to train every day. You need to be sparring all the time. Like, you do not get into the UFC by going once a week to the gym and training. And so you have to take that approach to everything. If you want to win on social media, you want to win on Instagram, you want to win on podcast, you can't just do it once a week. You have to get good at the thing that you're doing. You have to put in the work. And listen, you may not be able to do that right now. School, everything else is, you know, life gets in the way, fine. But like, it's the goal to get there.
Yeah.
Right? That this isn't once a week forever. Like, I'm doing it once a week now. That's how I'm balancing everything out. And then by summer, I need to be at twice a week. And then by winter, I need to be at 3 times a week. Right? And as you get better at it, like as you work more at it, you'll do it faster. The more podcasts you do, you'll just be better.
Yeah, because
right? I'm sure already. Most of the back on podcast one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Most of the podcasts, obviously, you see on like ESPN and stuff. They're every single day for 2 hours, like, and I'm doing it once a week for 30 minutes, like. So it's definitely, I got a lot of room to grow, but obviously I'm still young and I have other things on my plate to balance. Just like we were in the YouTube right before this, talking about balancing your finances, it's just the same as balancing just your life in general. I just have a lot of obviously other priorities going on right now that I can't do it every single day, obviously. But I started off with once a week for 30 minutes. I thought that was a good place to start because you got to start somewhere, and then build it from there and just kind of increase it goal by goal, like you said. By the summer, two a week, then by the winter three a week, and then try to make it to once every single day. So.
Yeah, and recognize, like, I'm not judging you, right? Like, recognize at the beginning, it won't be, like, nobody can go 7 days a week at the beginning of anything.
Yeah.
Like, the first time you go to a gym, if you've never been to a gym, your muscles will hurt from lifting, like, 10 pounds. You'll be hurting. You can't go back the next day and do it again.
Yep.
And if your goal is to eventually, lift 100, then how do you get from 10 to 100? You don't just go in the next day and boom, you're at 100. You work, right? You slowly get better with time. And so it's expecting to suck, expecting it to be a terrible product at the beginning, not getting great results, everything being slow, and then knowing that, you know what, if I keep doing this and I get more consistent, I'm going to win. 4 years ago on YouTube, I had 7,000 subscribers 4 years ago. Now I have 1.2 million. And it's not because I'm great. Like, if you look at my videos, especially the early ones, I was nervous. I sucked. I look back and I cringe at what I was doing. I don't have natural talent for any of this stuff. But I've made 6,000 videos over those 4 years. Not all of them have gone public. Like 2,000 of them, almost 2,000 have not gone public. And so you better get good at something if you do it 6,000 times, right? Like, if you made 6,000 podcasts, you would get good at podcasting. You just would. Just like everything else, right? If you tried doing free throws 6,000 times, you're going to start hitting some. It's just going to happen.
The post the other day with your son was, like, really cool because, like, I had a huge issue with perfectionism and stuff. And what he said about practice doesn't make perfect, it makes progress, and that kind of hit him as well because it was just that simple. You're not going to be perfect even down the road. No one's ever going to be perfect, but if you keep doing it consistently, you're going to make some progress and you're going to hit your milestones that you want to. So
yeah, that was a fun post I put. It's from my 8-year-old son. Just told me that one day, and I said, let's turn it into an Instagram video, which is fun. I don't know where he got that quote. Maybe he read it online or something. It's not something that I usually say, so I like that he's off on his own path figuring stuff out. But it's true. I think at the beginning of anything, I posted this morning to Instagram. I guess this morning doesn't count for when this podcast comes up, but just start. Like, you just need to start. Too often when we start something, we have an idea for something, and then we make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, where this thing could go and how huge I could get and where my dreams are going to be. And it's great from a dreaming vision perspective. But then what ends up happening is it becomes this big, scary, impossible thing that you can never do, that you need funding for, you need a team for, and then you never do the thing that's most important, which is just start. Like, just find the smallest way to get started right now, even if it sucks. Just start, because you need to build momentum.
Exactly. That's how, like, when I was going through that perfectionism stage and my anxiety and stuff, when I was dealing with that kind of stuff, I feel really great now with everything. I've been working really hard mentally, but, like, that really just, there's never ever going to be a perfect time to start anything, so why not just start now, So that really just kind of, another thing, just a lot of little things like that hit him for me because, like, you think, oh, I got to start, whenever I gotta start, getting to the gym, getting back into shape. If you just go and just make progress, do something, it's not ever going to be perfect. Progress and just the progression and the process is better than trying to be perfect. So I think that really that hit home for me. So I think
most important thing is just go and do something right now. Like as soon as you get a goal, do something. If it's I'm going to go to the gym, but I'm in my school uniform, go to the gym. Like just go to the gym and spend 5 minutes on the bike and lift 15 pounds down and then leave. Like you did something. Building momentum is so underrated, because you say you're going to do it tomorrow, but you won't do it tomorrow. Chances are you won't do it tomorrow. So you got to start doing it today.
Exactly.
Even yesterday, a guy on my team, Alex, he runs one of my businesses. The school logo, we have a logo, the dance school, is a hand with a heart on it. And he's like, you know what, on my Instagram, I want to give people a high five, and I want to get a temporary tattoo of a heart on my hand and like high five people at the end of videos. It's like, okay, great. But what are you going to do today? Well, I'm not going to go get the temporary tattoo today. I've got too much stuff to do. Okay, great. So how about you just draw the heart on your hand with a highlighter?
Yeah,
right? It's like, well, but it won't be the logo. Like, don't worry about that. Just, it's a heart. It's the hand. It's close enough, right? Like, just do it. Get used to it. Do the motion, right? High five with the heart. Just do it now. And so people then look at it and they respond to him and they give him a high five back with the heart. And so that builds momentum. So that in 2 weeks when he goes and he actually gets a temporary tattoo on his hand, great. But chances are he won't do it if you didn't take that immediate action. So as soon as you get an idea for something, whatever time it is, wherever state you're in, wherever you are, like find some stupidly small way to just start.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody wants to start a podcast, they can't see what we're doing. We're both on professional mics. We're both in the, you got our environment set up. We've done this before.
Yeah.
Great. You want to start a podcast? Get your phone and go interview somebody. There's your first podcast.
Exactly.
Go do it. Like you have an idea for a podcast, go interview your dad right now around whatever story you want to talk about. Like get it started right now. You already have the tools necessary to start, and it's never going to be where you ultimately want to be, but you'll never get there if you don't take some small, silly, stupid action right now to make some momentum happen.
Yeah. 100%. I think my next question, I already know some of the answers, but just for my podcast viewers, who are some of your biggest heroes and why?
So, my biggest heroes are my parents. I've got a giant canvas. I've got 5 people on giant canvases behind me in my office, and my parents are in the middle. They didn't teach me much about business. They just taught me how to be a human being. My one word is believe. It's my most important core value. It comes from them. And so how I act comes from them. In terms of business strategies and ideas, I learned from a lot of people. The people that I have up on my wall, Steve Jobs from Apple, mm-hmm. Howard Schultz from Starbucks, A.P. Giannini from Bank of America, and Kanye West. And they're on there for different reasons. But if anybody's watched the videos on my channel, I learn from everything that I post. If I haven't learned from that person something, I don't post it up. Everything gets passed through an Evan filter that I have to have learned something from for it to go live on the channel. And I think too often people limit how they can learn just by the people who they look up to. So, like Steve Jobs might have been a great visionary entrepreneur, but he may not be the best father. Like maybe I don't want to be a father like him, right? I'm going to learn that from somebody else. If learn to learn from people who don't look like you, who you may initially disagree with, or who you disagree with on a lot of things, but they do one thing really well, you can still learn from that person. And if you can learn to learn from people that you hate because they've had success in one field, it doesn't mean you're going to become a bad person like them, but you can learn from a little bit of what they did to help you achieve success. And I think too often people are really fixed into only learning from people who are exactly like them, and that's going to really limit how quickly you can grow.
Exactly, because I watched it wasn't one of your videos, it was another Floyd Mayweather motivational video, and he says when he was growing up and training and stuff, he didn't want to just be like one fighter. He wanted to he wanted to be a killer like Mike Tyson. He said some days he wanted to be like, Muhammad Ali, all these guys. And he said he took a little bit from each fighter, threw it in a box, shook it up, and see what he came out with. And now he's one of the greatest defensive boxer. He is the greatest defensive boxer ever, one of the greatest ever, 50-0. But like that, another thing, just it hit him, like little stuff like that I take, and that's what I do with a lot of the people I watch on your channel and other resources as well, that you can't, like you said, Steve Jobs, he was a great entrepreneur, but he might not have been the greatest father or something along those lines. You can't just solely like mold yourself and sculpt yourself from one person. You got to take a little bit from each everyone out there. There's a lot of resources out there. You take a little bit from each person and see what you come out with, because no one's going to be the perfect success story. Like, it's not going to be, there's no prototype out there that like says this is how it looks like. And I think that diversity really kind of fits well with what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think there is, to your point, there is no one person who is an ideal figurehead for everything for you. You don't want to be the next Steve Jobs or the next LeBron or the next Floyd Mayweather or whoever it is. You want to be the best you. And you could take pieces from these people and what they've done to help you be great at whoever you are. And so I think too often, like if you look at the people who win, they're never a copy of anybody else.
Exactly.
The next, heavyweight champion or the next boxer, the next UFC fighter is not going to be exactly like Conor McGregor. He's going to have his own style. Right? And maybe you can learn something from Conor, you can learn something from, the stars that have come before him, but he's going to have his own style. The people who win figure out who they are and they go all in on that.
Definitely. My next question is, when did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and how did you develop the way and your approach to spreading your message?
So I didn't know I wanted to be an entrepreneur for a while. I think I had a lot of entrepreneurial tendencies growing up. I made my first 10 cents when I was 5, and I drew some art and I sold it to my next door neighbor. And then I did baseball cards and garage sales and that kind of stuff growing up. I'm from Toronto, so when I was 12 and 13, the Toronto Blue Jays won the World Series, so it was all hype here at that time, and got heavily into baseball cards and made a buck doing that. But there was no entrepreneurs in my family. Like, entrepreneurship is way cooler than when I was growing up. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. I love it. It's great. I almost didn't become an entrepreneur. I thought I wanted to be a banker. There's just
really,
you go to school and the people around you, and just it was the way. Like, you go to school, you get a job. That was how most people operated. And when I went to university, I connected with 2 people who had started a business, and they asked me to join. And I was hesitant because I had my dream jobs kind of lined up, 6 figures, starting salary, travel around the world kind of stuff. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to give it a year. I'm going to try this entrepreneur thing and see what happens. And I went from making potentially 6 figures a year to $300 a month in this startup. But I just didn't want to live with regret.
Yeah.
Because I knew I could get another job. It may not be the same job, may not be the perfect job, but I could get another job. I didn't know if I could do this business thing again. And so for anybody listening, especially if you're younger, you don't want to live with regret. Like, if you think about starting a podcast or a YouTube channel or a sneaker company, like whatever the thing is you want to do, you don't want to be 90 looking back on your life and say, man, I wish I just gave it my shot. That's the thing that drives me, and I'm afraid of, like, that I could have been on Lang Logic and I said no, right? Like, I don't want that haunting me for the rest of my life.
Well, I really appreciate you being on. It means the world to me. So you don't.
Right, or even you like reaching out. I don't know how we connected, but a lot of people wouldn't reach out. A lot of people would say, well, he'll never come on, or I'm afraid, or whatever, and then you regret that. Like, maybe your podcast shuts down and you didn't get the chance to go all in on what you wanted to do. And so I think if you have clarity over what you want to do, then what gets you through the fear, at least for me, is the greater fear of regret. Because anything that is worth doing, there's going to be fear. If you're not scared of anything all day long, then that's not great. Like, that means you live in a really small life.
Yeah.
If you're never afraid of anything, you live in a super small life. And so fear is good. It's on the other side of fear, great things will happen. And the thing that gets you through the fear is, for me, the future fear of regret. Just think about 50 years regretting this thing. Okay, it's not that scary. I need to go and do it. This thing in front of me is not that scary. I have to go after it.
Yeah, it was on the Instagram live, and I was thinking to myself, why not? Like, worst that Evan can say is no or not even respond. So I was like, throw a wild card out and see what happened. And that's what.
No, it could have been way worse. It could have been, Zachary, man, you suck. I never want to be on this garbage podcast ever. Like, that can happen too, right? It's not just ignoring, right? Like, but so what, right? Like, who cares what I think?
Yeah.
If you want to do a podcast, forget Evan Carmichael. That guy's an idiot. I'm going to go off and get somebody else, right? Because, I don't want to set people up with bad expectations, because that will happen. Like, if you really want to ask that girl out, she may reject you. She may hit you across the face. She may laugh at you. Like, there's a lot of real negative stuff that can happen beyond just she might ignore you or she just might say no, right? so like, that's real world, right? I could have been the biggest sleazeball ever and, been a huge douchebag to you. But so what? Like, for 99 people that you reach out to, you'll probably get 2 or 3 of those kind of people. And you'll get mostly people who say no, and most of the people just won't respond. But then you'll get 1 or 2 who say yes. And that's what you go with, and then you build from there. I like the come up. Like, I love Instagram so much because I'm nothing on Instagram. Because I'm just about to hit 10K, right? For me, that's nothing. Like, if I have 1.2 million on YouTube, 10K is just starting up. I love that I'm starting from scratch on there. I love the climb. I love the dirt in my face. I love the, like, nobody's responding to my post. What am I gonna do? I love it. Like, that's part of the climb in anything. Like, if you want to win at UFC, you have to like going to the gym.
Yeah.
If like dragging your ass to the gym every day is a huge battle for you, you're never going to get there. You have to like the process, not just winning the title. You have to like the process of training and fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you pretty much touched on everything. I'll get to my next question. How do you shift your mindset in terms of positivity within your daily life and, in your daily routine?
How do you shift it to positivity?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times we are a product of our environment. I think we are a result of the people around us and the information that we're consuming. And for a lot of us, we may not be fortunate to have great parents or great friends. You may be going home every day and having parents who tell you you're going to do nothing and be nothing. And there's a lot of negativity in your environment. So first step is try to eliminate or at least limit exposure to negativity in your environment. If you want to be a more positive person, you need to start by cutting out the negative as much as possible. Like, maybe that's your mom, and maybe you don't want to cut out your mom, right? but limiting exposure. Like, maybe your mom hates your podcast. Sorry, Mrs. Lang. Maybe your mom hates the podcast. So don't talk to her about the podcast, right? Like, talk to her about other things, right? So you're just limiting negative exposure. Any friends who crap on you, any binge watching Netflix that make you feel bad about yourself, like, just stop all the negativity. Then you have this void. You got this extra time. Fill it with things that fill you up. You may have friends that you can spend more time with. A lot of people don't have positive friends in their life either. So that's where, at least for me, my confidence, my growth, my positivity has grown with all of the videos that I watch and make. Like, my channel is selfish for me because I learn and I grow with every video, and then I share it with my audience too, and thankfully they learn and grow too. So if you love listening to Zachary, like, listen to his old episodes too. Tell Zachary, dude, you got to go daily because you inspire me, man. I need more content. I need more Lang logic in the house. If you like YouTube videos or books, like, whatever the thing is that gets you. Here's the thing. We've all felt positivity. We've all felt boldness. We've all felt courageousness. You've had moments in your life, no matter how short, where you have felt unstoppable, bold, and courage. You felt that. It may not be every day, but you've had these moments. What was the thing that led you to feel that boldness? Was it having Eric Thomas yell at you? Was it watching Conor McGregor do an interview? Like, what was the thing? Was it reading a book? Was it listening to Zachary's podcast? Like, what was the thing that got you feeling unstoppable? And then bring that into your morning routine every day. Like, start your day with that thing. And it can't be the same Conor McGregor speech over and over and over again, because that will wear down and won't be as impactful. But something new about Conor McGregor, or like what I try to do on my channel. There's 3 new videos every day. Like, you can't keep up with all the content that's coming out. Yep. Right? So there's always something new. So it's more important than finding the actual video or the actual book is finding the source. So, I'm a source. Eric Thomas is a source. Zachary's a source. An author is a source. And then surrounding yourself with that source on a regular basis, Put it into your morning routine. Most people wake up like an accident. Most people wake up without motivation or energy. And most people don't have a routine that supports them in building positive habits. And so rather than just saying, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week in the morning, think about what your mindset needs to be in before you go to the gym and how you get that. The podcast, the videos, the books, whatever the thing is, start your day with that every day. It made a huge difference. If you woke up every day for the next year doing something that made you feel bold and unstoppable, I guarantee you your life in a year will look nothing like your life is right now.
100%, because I've, have seen it firsthand was just watching your videos and absorbing all the content you put out daily. And then obviously recently with Instagram and stuff, I've been utilizing a lot more and trying to promote my, trying to use every platform I can to promote my podcast. I've seen my life and my mindset and just everything shift tremendously in just a short amount of time. Like I feel like very, very good right now compared to what I used to be. So that's that. And I think we'll finish up with our last question. It's a broad question, but what is your single biggest piece of advice for young adults stepping into the real world?
I would just say, I take that too as like what advice I would give myself, 20 years old, 19 years old. I would just say believe in yourself more. I would say, you're a genius. You have great ideas. You have the ability to do amazing things, even if it's never been done before in your family. You don't need to be a photocopy of your parents. Like, you could do great things. Believe in yourself more. It doesn't mean it's going to work out immediately, but if you want to start a podcast, start a podcast. I think everybody should try to be an entrepreneur, just to know.
Yeah.
I think the greatest UFC fighter of all time is not Conor McGregor. I think he's a manager at Starbucks, or he's an accountant, because he never tried UFC. He never tried wrestling. He never tried fighting.
Yeah.
It wasn't available at his school, and he never tried it, so now he went off to become an accountant, and he hates his job. Like, 95% of America wakes up and drives to a job that they hate every day.
That's not what I want to do. That's why I found my passion. I'm pursuing it with every single thing I have. That's why, I don't want to be the just typical American that I retire at 65. I want to, I hate my job. I hate my life. I hate getting up in the morning. Those kinds of things that people are thinking day in and day out. How do you think people stay motivated and in terms of just waking up every single day, even if they are going to a job they hate? How can they strategically, put themselves in a better spot, that they could maybe change jobs or go do something else?
So I think first off is figuring out what is the thing that you want to do. Like, if you found it, if podcasting is your thing, great. And if you don't know what you do, if you don't know what you want to do, then the best thing you can do is try to figure out what it is that you want to do. Say yes to everything and go out and try it. Everybody should try to be an entrepreneur. Everybody should try to be in athletics. Everybody should try to do lots of things until you find the thing that you love doing.
Yeah.
It's like sitting down at an Italian restaurant and eating spaghetti and saying, that's it, I'm going to eat spaghetti only for the rest of my life. How do you know? You didn't try sushi. You didn't try burritos. You didn't try all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
How do you know that's just because it's the first thing? And that's the thing, your parents give you spaghetti. Your school gives you spaghetti. And so, you just learn to get comfortable with spaghetti. You realize, you know what? I'm allergic to tomato sauce. I hate spaghetti. There's something else out there called sushi. That's amazing, right? And so people do that with their career. It sounds stupid with food, but that's what people are doing with their career options. You go to school, you're given options, this is the path, and so that's what you're going to do without ever really... What school is teaching you how to be an entrepreneur, really? Or to be great on social media? Or to, flip sneakers online? Where are you going to learn that stuff? You got to go out and start doing it. And so explore, and believe in your ability to do something amazing. The mindset is belief, the action is explore, and it starts with having the morning routine. Finding those people in your life, whether it's through YouTube or books, again, most people, they start and they stop, and they start and they stop, and they start and they stop. You'll never cook a steak by turning on the heat for 10 seconds and turning it back off. And then a week later, turn it back on for 10 seconds and turn it back off.
Yeah.
The steak will never get cooked. But that's what people are doing with their ideas. I'm going to start a podcast. Well, I'll do one, and then and then you fall off. And then a month later, you do another one, right? And so just believing in yourself, knowing that even though this thing sucks right now, it's going to get amazing as you put in the time, put in the work, you put in the effort.
All right, I think that pretty much wraps it up. It's almost 12:15. I actually have to get to a class on the other side of campus. So
time to run.
Yep, I'll have to wrap it up here, but you don't realize how much I appreciate everything that you put out every single day. Like, truly, it's changed my life on so many levels, and I really appreciate you recognizing my hustle and joining me on my podcast. I really appreciate it.
I love it. Lang Logic, episode 6 or 7. We're going to look back on this when it's 700. I want to be guest number 700 to back on and say, dude, look at how far we came.
Yep. Would you, I know on some of your other people that you've been on podcasts with, would you be willing to help like promote it? Like, it's about not like obviously huge because obviously you're very busy, but like just little like blurbs. Hey, check out my podcast. Go check them out on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that.
When you get a final link to the thing, we'll put it up.
All right, I appreciate it.
Just send Sandra, my assistant, send her the final link to like where people can go listen to it.
All right, cool. I appreciate it very much.
All right, Zachary.
Yep, you have a good day.
Get running.
Yep. See ya.